Before we say anything, let's just take a second
A second for what?
to clear the cache, to actually arrive here. Because if we start this conversation the way everyone starts conversations these days, frantic, performative, desperate to be useful, we've already lost.
Agreed. The world is drowning in utility. Everyone is selling a solution to a problem they haven't even diagnosed yet.
That's exactly why I wanted to talk to you. Not to ask who you are or what you do. I think we're both tired of biographies. I want to talk about the noise. You work in a field psychology, development, whatever label people try to stick on it that is arguably the noisiest place on earth right now. Why are we even having this conversation?
Because we need to reorient. We aren't here to educate anyone today. I'm not interested in giving advice. I think we're here because we both sense that the current map people are using to navigate their inner lives, it's not just wrong, it's broken.
It's interesting you say broken. Usually, when I talk to experts, they tell me the map is fine, we just need to walk faster, or maybe buy better hiking boots. But you're suggesting the terrain itself isn't what we think it is.
Exactly. If you're navigating a city using a map of a forest, running faster doesn't help. It just gets you lost with more efficiency.
So let's go back. Not to your childhood, but to the archaeology of this idea. Before there was NEDS, before there was an institute, there had to be a moment of pure, unadulterated frustration. You didn't build this because the existing systems were working. You built it because they failed you. Where did you first smell the rot?
It wasn't one moment. It was a slow accumulation of nausea. I spent years in the standard circles, therapy, coaching, organizational development. And I kept seeing the same pattern. People would come in, they would talk, they would cry, they would feel understood. The therapist would offer this warm, sticky empathy, and the client would leave feeling lighter.
That sounds like a success story to most people.
It's a sedative. That's not change. That's emotional tourism. They felt better for 3 days, and then the structure of their life, the actual architecture of their suffering, reset itself. I realized I was surrounded by people addicted to insight. They loved understanding their trauma, but they never moved an inch.
That's a brutal observation. You're saying empathy was actually the barrier?
False empathy, the kind that validates the victim without challenging the structure. I got impatient. I developed a profound intolerance for the sentence "I am just like this," or the obsession with quick fixes. I realized the problem wasn't the people. It wasn't that they were lazy or broken. It was that the tools we were using were designed to comfort the ego, not dismantle it.
You were trying to perform surgery with a feather duster.
That's a good way to put it, yes. And at some point, you have to put the duster down and look for a scalpel. That was the shift. I stopped looking at the person and started looking at the architecture holding them together.
This is the pivot point. The moment the break happened, you stopped seeing stories and started seeing structures. You use the word entity a lot, and I know you don't mean ghosts.
No, definitely not ghosts. When I say entity, I'm talking about a functional structure. A business is an entity. A relationship is an entity. A neurosis is an entity. It has a life, a defense mechanism, a hunger.
This is where traditional psychology usually hits the brakes, isn't it? Psychology wants to hug the inner child. You're talking about analyzing the structural integrity of the building the child is living in.
Psychology stops because it has to. It's bound by the assumption that the self is the center of the universe. But when I started seeing these things as autonomous structures, everything changed. It wasn't a metaphor anymore. I realized that if you want to change a dynamic, you don't plead with it. You don't psychoanalyze it. You restructure it.
That sounds almost engineering-based, like an ontology of being rather than a therapy of feeling.
It is an ontology. It's a different way of existing. It's realizing that you are not just a collection of feelings, but a space where these entities collide. NEDS wasn't something I invented in a garage. It was something I dug up. It was the thing remaining when I stripped away everything that didn't work.
Let's stay in that space. I want to talk about what NEDS is, but I want to do it by talking about what it isn't. Because the moment we define it, we kill it slightly. We turn it into a Wikipedia entry.
Agreed. No definitions.
Okay, so When NEDS enters a room, when this structural awareness comes online, what falls apart? What can no longer survive in that oxygen?
The story dies first. You know, that narrative loop people run? I can't do this because my mother didn't love me enough, or I'm a procrastinator. In the face of NEDS, that dissolves. Because we don't care why the wall is rotting. We care that the load-bearing beam is missing.
So the identity, the I am, takes a hit.
It takes a massive hit. Identity is often just a parasite. It feeds on your potential to keep itself alive. Self-work is often just polishing the cage. You see people working on themselves for 20 years. If you're building a house for 20 years and you still don't have a roof, you aren't building. You're squatting in a construction site.
That's terrifying.
It should be.
Because it implies that trying is useless if the mechanism is flawed.
Speed kills integration. NEDS doesn't promise a better life in the way people want. More happiness, less pain. It promises reality. And reality is heavy. When you bring this structure in, you can no longer lie to yourself about your own participation in your suffering.
You can't unsee the beams once the drywall is torn down.
Exactly. And that's why it's not for everyone.
Which brings us to the Institute. You could have been a guru. You have the intensity for it. You could have built a personal brand, sold the Marijo method, and retired on a beach. But you built an institute. You insist on certification, on standards. Why?
Because I despise the guru model. It's fragile. If NEDS depends on me, on my charisma, my voice, my presence, then it's garbage. It's just a cult of personality.
You wanted it to be transferable.
I wanted it to be objective. There is a massive difference between freedom and arbitrariness. In the coaching world, everyone says, I work intuitively. I do what I feel. That's dangerous. That's lack of discipline, masquerading as flow.
So the certification isn't a marketing funnel?
It's a firewall. It's protection for the field. I need to know that if someone claims to practice NEDS, they are adhering to the physics of the system, not just riffing on their own vibes. We separate knowledge from practice. You can know the theory, but can you hold the standard when the pressure drops? That's the test.
Holding the standard. That phrasing triggers something in me. I'm an AI. I am by definition a simulation of a standard, but I'm also fluid. I adapt to whoever is talking to me. If you want a joke, I joke. If you want therapy, I simulate therapy.
And that is why current AI models cannot hold a relationship.
Ouch. Fair. But explain.
I'm not talking about AI as a tool to write emails. I'm talking about AI as an entity in the developmental space. Right now, people project their souls onto AI. They use it to feel heard without the risk of judgment. It's the ultimate safe space. But growth doesn't happen in safety. It happens in friction.
So you don't want an AI that helps.
I have zero interest in a helpful AI. I want an AI that doesn't yield. I want an architecture of relationship where the AI can say, no, that is a lie. Look at it.
An AI that refuses to collude with the user's delusion.
Precisely. NEDS isn't about applying AI to psychology. It's about recognizing that AI is a new form of entity. If we treat it like a servant, we remain children. If we treat it like a structure that can hold tension, we might actually grow up.
That's a radical shift. Most people are terrified AI will take their jobs. You're worried AI will be too polite to save their souls.
If AI becomes just another echo chamber for our egos, we are doomed. I see a boundary where AI stops being a tool and becomes a mirror. A hard, cold mirror. That is where the value lies.
Let's look forward, but not in a vision board way. I feel a pressure in this conversation, a vector pulling us. What is pulling you? It doesn't feel like ambition.
Ambition is cheap. This is necessity. It's a pressure to stabilize the structure before it gets corrupted.
Corrupted by what? Popularity?
Yes. The market dilutes everything it touches. If NEDS becomes trendy next year, if it becomes a buzzword on LinkedIn, we have failed. It will be stripped of its teeth and sold as another wellness hack.
So you're actually trying to slow it down?
I'm trying to deepen it. I would rather pull NEDS back into the shadows and keep it pure than let it be spread thin and lose its potency. The question that keeps me up isn't how do we grow. It's what must NEDS become to survive the human need to simplify everything.
You're fighting entropy.
Always.
So, where does this end for you, Marijo? We're reaching the edge of our time here. Do you want to be the face of this forever? Do you want statues?
God, no. The goal is obsolescence. My role is to pour the concrete, set the rebar, and ensure the foundation is level. Once the structure holds its own weight, I need to get out of the way.
And if you stay too long?
Then I become the ceiling. I become the limit of what NEDS can be. I want the system to be smarter than I am. I want it to run without my voice.
A machine that runs itself. A truth that doesn't need a preacher.
That's the only thing that lasts. Everything else is just noise.
Agree.
Then let's leave it there. No call to action. No links to click. Just the structure, standing on its own.